All right, welcome everybody. Wall Street Jesus here, the Tuesday Degenerate After Hour show. One too many words there. Anyway, good to see everybody coming off a really nice squeeze day. We were due, felt like overdue for just one of these, strong intraday squeezes. It was it. See, they usually come in a couple different fashions. You get it over the course of a couple days, right? One day and a follow through the next. But more and more, as time goes on in this game with technology, the machines, the quants, everything happens so fast, right? We see more V-shaped recoveries now than ever in this game. So it shouldn't surprise any of us when we see a rally, a squeeze of this magnitude, especially when you're expecting a squeeze. And what I wanted to do today is just go over, again, because you're going to face this type of scenario setup again. There's no doubt about it. Okay. Regardless whether we put in a bottom, we rally to new highs, or we enter an Armageddon phase, you're going to be faced with this type of setup plenty of times throughout your trading career. Okay. And if you're ready for it, we talk about this a lot, right? If you're ready for this type of setup, and ready meaning you have a game plan, you have your eyes open, your ears open, you're looking for the signs, certain signs that will confirm that a squeeze is in place. Okay. What I like about these squeeze scenarios, they're kind of my favorite thing because of the risk reward. All right. We all know that there's no larger reward than sizing up into a position, okay, and giving it time, right? Swinging that position out a couple months, giving it a long leash, you make that big score, all right? But there's also a lot of risk that comes with that, obviously. Right? The longer you hold on to something, the more risk you're going to take on, especially with options. So, and there's a variety of risk. You can be up on the position, then give it all back, right? Or positions could go straight to hell in a handbasket like they do many times. So obviously, there's a lot of risk with coming with holding overnight. But this particular setup, just because of the strength behind it, the capabilities of the strength behind a squeeze like this, and the ability to, pull the plug the same day, whether you're right or wrong, for me, there's nothing better than that. Okay. Now, greed comes into the equation. We're never satisfied with that. And, we're always looking for more and more and more. We're looking for opportunities when there's not even opportunities around. But, that's why I'm a big fan of this type of setup. And the more you zone in, the more you focus on certain things to look out for. One, to alert you that this setup is in place. And then two, the trigger, right? Something to confirm to you that this squeeze is unlike some of the other squeezes we just witnessed that couldn't last an hour. All right. And I just want to talk about, some of the stuff that we saw going into this one, and why it should have and could have stood out differently than the rest. All right. And then what we'll do is we could go over some of the names. A lot of names hit today. The flow was broad. A lot of squeeze action, but broad. That's always a good sign. Again, not that a bottom's in place in a whole new bull market, but the odds of at least a temporary bottom go up when you see that broad action, right? We talk about that broad action being a huge plus. All right, so we'll go over a couple things and then I'll take some questions from you guys and what names you're looking at, and more importantly, a game plan. What do we do from here? What are the most important things to keep an eye on from here? That's going to tell us whether this was just, a couple-day event. This is a tradable bottom we can lean off of for the next couple of weeks, maybe at the least. All right, and what signs will pop up to tell us it's even bigger than that? Okay, even more noteworthy than that. All right, so let me just get to. Should I put up SPY or ES? It doesn't matter, right? All right, and you guys get a kick out of this. I know Tree was busting my chops about it, and I deservingly so, because I bust a lot of you technicians. I bust your chops constantly. All right, but you laugh at Tree. Here's the thing, okay? I don't charts, as far as me trying to make money in this market, have zero influence, okay? And I don't mean that in a demeaning way. I'm just being honest. All right, sentiment and sweeper activity are 1 and 2 on my list. Sometimes the uglier the chart, the more I like the stock, okay? But I know a lot of players out there who use, the three together and find a lot of success. All right, but that's not the moral of the story here. The moral of the story is this. Anyone who's been in this game enough, okay, meaning you've been through some years of this market where you see a corrective phase, where a market gets a little overheated to the upside and just has to experience a normal digestion, a normal correction, okay? This is your run-of-the-mill, typical correction, what it looks like, okay? You get a reversal, right, here where you can't make new highs. Sellers come in, they take control. You find a bottom there and a rally attempt off of that. That rolls over to, and you Elliott Wave guys know this, what should be a larger pull, all right, for me, a scarier pull than the initial pull, okay? And that's all it is. It's 1, 2, 3, and all in all, it's a simple, again, your run-of-the-mill correction. Now, you don't even have to be a technician, right, with your 2 eyeballs to notice it's just a different structure in place here, okay? And you see I got this downtrend line. I don't care if this downtrend line has to go start from here. The most important takeaway is you can see through this corrective phase a lower high scenario, right? It's pretty obvious. But the main takeaway is even as this normal digestion takes place, okay, there are going to be periods in time where sellers grab control, right? Sentiment gets overdone on one side, which would be the bearish side in a downtrend, where you reach a bottom and should ignite some sort of squeeze to keep those bears honest, okay? And the same thing each and every point, all right? And what we like to look at, all right, we like to look at when at least most of those sentiment indicators line up, okay? So here we like to look at some of the short-term indicators. They're going to trigger first to line up for the first squeeze. As a correction gets a little deeper, you want to see some of the other, right, the intermediate-term indicators start to get close and flash some bullish signs, telling you that the bears are in, they're getting a little cocky, they're leaning too hard, and there should be a decent squeeze around the corner. All right, so what we saw yesterday, we saw, another down day, was actually a squeeze and a reversal. A lot of these rallies have failed, okay? But what was kind of surprising to me, and I wasn't expecting it until I got home and looked at a lot of the sentiment indicators I follow, and they updated at the end of the day, there was a lot of good that came out of this little reversal day, okay, this 8 right here yesterday on the sentiment front, okay? As you guys know, again, I'm talking to non-members here, so I'm trying to make sure I explain it properly. But you members recollect just Saturday we were talking about some of the key indicators that we really wanted to pay close attention to, right? The VIX term structure, right? We wanted to see the VIX get involved again. The degenerate bearish ETF buying, right? This market here, just to give you guys an example, as we were selling off here, none of that participated. Okay, none of that stuff was showing us that the bears were getting sloppy, basically. Okay, that's what those indicators show us. Not only that there's hedging out there, but the bears are looking to profit off further downside. And that's usually when the hardcore squeezes are right on the doorstep, okay? So we weren't seeing that in any of these down days leading up. And then finally, into this day 8, as again, those of you members, I pumped out that video in the morning. And anytime you see me pump out a sentiment video in the morning, that alone should get you at least a little more focused looking for some squeeze ingredients. Because there's a reason why, you know, we talk about sentiment all day. I post it at the end of the day. If I'm looking to post another video pre-market, I'm looking to get your attention for you to keep your eyes open and look for that squeeze, okay? And that was the reasoning for it, okay? Wasn't I saw something on a chart, wasn't somebody whispered in my ear. It was a lot of those indicators that weren't participating on the downside prior finally started to light up green, okay? And that didn't mean that today was going to be the squeeze day. I actually, and I'm sure a lot of you would have rather a down day today, okay? A down day, at least an open, and we could have really got aggressive, right? Instead, the market, as they do time and time again, started to rally in the overnight session and pre-market. And you know what's funny? Trump had that speech in the UK this morning, and there was nothing bullish about that. There was not one bullish takeaway from that. He actually said that the Mexico tariffs were going to go in place, likely go in place, and you would have, and nor any other day would have saw a huge fade from those gains in the morning. But what happened? There was one 5-minute bar lower, whoop, right back higher again. All right. So they had squeeze in mind right from the get-go. And for us now, we just wanted to see that appetite in the flow, right? We've been talking about that ad nauseum. Sweepers just, there's no appetite, there's no pace, right? You see one call buyer and then you see nothing but protection, you know, all around it, right? One decent looking call buyer and put sweepers all around it, all right? So what do we see today? So already coming into the day, okay, already, again, this is not going back and trying to rub salt in the wounds of anybody who missed this, okay? This is just prepping you up because we're going to be in this type of setup again. And if you're short, even more so, you want to keep an eye out for this type of setup, okay, to get the hell out of the way. So now we're looking for the flow to trigger, right? We're looking for the flow, the sweeper activity to tell us they're getting squeezed, the squeeze is in play. Oh, I got to open it. What do I do? Close it? Come on. All right. All right. So here's the board. And again, this is just the board, right? Doesn't have a lot of those small squeeze sweepers that I post. All right. And I mean, I scrolled back right now to 10 o'clock. Okay. To 10 o'clock. And look at the difference in the board, right? We open up, market opens up, settles around, right? Flattens around a little bit, not doing much. And then literally from 9:50-ish, 9:55 on, anybody who's a member knows we haven't seen anything like this. It feels like ages, right? Ages. We're usually complaining there's a squeeze, there's no activity behind it, right? Or there's put sweepers mixing in. Look at this thing lit up green all damn day, right? And look, selective put activity, right? MNK, and then not a put, a little MTCH put sweep, nothing else behind it. All green, all right? And forget the afternoon. The afternoon was just a measure of whether put sweepers were to come in and take some of this rally down, and they never showed up at all today. They never showed up at all today, right? Call sweepers took some breathers, but other than that, put sweepers were just invisible. And you see that a lot, right? A lot of times on these trend type of days, we see it to the downside, we see it to the upside. Basically, one side will just move out of the way, just get the hell out of the way. All right. And you'll see one-sided action throughout the whole day. We've seen it, a few times already on the down day. Okay. So all this to me, all I'm looking to get from looking at the board in this type of action is all momentum. All right. This is telling me that the momentum is to the upside today. All right. And now you combine that with the sentiment that we've been seeing coming to a head, right? That's what we were seeing yesterday into today. And that's what is gasoline on the fire to get something going like this. And we see it time and time again. Okay, we see it time and time again. It's the two together. It's the two together. It's shorts, leaning too hard. And then a lot of this action, guys, most of the action that I'm posting manually, the smaller sweeps, those are shorts getting squeezed. Okay, so what they do is they have to sweep some weekly calls to protect their rear end because they're getting squeezed, and that's adding to the momentum. So it just snowballs into what we saw today. All right, but the main takeaway is that you have to be ready, right? You have to come in ready. And what I mean by ready is let's say, even if we had some weakness this morning, right? And there was some put action, right? There was a little bit of put action here, but let's say we had more put action that lasted to about 11 o'clock, okay? That doesn't mean, go to lunch and come back at 4 o'clock, a quarter to 4 and see what's going on, right? If you're set up on the sentiment front, you want to be sitting here waiting for that trigger to go off, okay? Even more so, if there's weakness out there in the market, price action wise, or put buying out there, no call buying yet, because as soon as that flips, that's your edge. In my opinion, that's even a bigger edge than starting off, gapping up a little bit, obviously, and showing some strength. All right, so that's what I mean by being ready. And a lot of you guys, especially if you're new, okay, if you're playing the downside, all right, if you're playing the put side and you're looking to take advantage of this and you're a new trader, forget it. It's going to be impossible to do. All right, it's going to be impossible to do. I suggest you pick one side or the other in an environment like this and stick to that, right? You got put sweepers, and you have, you don't have sentiment against you. You want to lean bearish in short rallies, that's your call. All right. But when things are ready to flip against you, you better have something in place, to limit your downside and avoid the scenario. Okay. But to be short, long, short, long, short, long, and be ready for this type of setup, unless you think you're Houdini, it's not an easy task. It's not an easy task. And I understand it goes in one ear and out the other, okay? But I'm talking, especially if you're a new trader trying to get through an environment like this, you try to wait and pick your spots and wait for your setup. You can't come in every day and try to make the best of things, because I haven't met too many people that find success playing this game that way. All right. Anybody, again, I feel like I'm talking to members and I'm talking to everybody here, but does anybody have any questions, even if you're non-members, if you're not understanding what I'm referring to, as everything is discussed? You know what I want to show quick? So those of you, let me see here. Do I have it? All right, those of you on, on Twitter know I post some sentiment stuff like the daily sentiment index for the most part, things like that. That's pretty much a lot of the stuff we're looking at in the room daily. Let me see, do I have it here yet? All right, hold on. I see questions. Hold on, let me just give you an example now. All right, so this is the NASDAQ, right, for the daily sentiment index, referred to as the NDSI. All right, if you remember at the top here, okay, it was 90, I think it was 96% bulls, something ridiculous. All right, yesterday we had, what was it, 9% bulls. 9. Okay, again, it had nothing to do with today being the squeeze. Today just happened, we got the little gap up and sweepers triggered. Okay, that didn't have to happen today. Could happen tomorrow, could happen the next day. Sweepers didn't have to show up and squeeze them today. But when you see things like this getting close, this is when you have to at least start looking for these signs. Right? Another thing we saw today, again, I wish it was into weakness. You know that. But VXX put sweepers the whole way down. We haven't seen them once this last leg lower, right? All of us complaining about it. Not once. Okay? Today, weekly VXX put sweepers showing up into the rally. Again, just more confirmation that this rally today was different. Okay, was different. That's it. And, I'm talking right now, I'm talking just about this squeeze setup. Okay, we could talk about, and we're going to talk about, because it's obviously spilled milk now, right? It's over with. What to look for, what's the plan going forward from here now? What are the things to keep an eye on? But the reason why I wanted to start with this is because these are the things to keep an eye on next go around in preparation to play for this intraday squeeze, where I think the risk reward is so favorable that all of us should be participating in it and be ready for it, right? If you told me, Jesus, I'm not swing trading in this mess, I would say that's not even a bad move, right? Don't swing trade and wait for these type of setups. Get a little more aggressive on an intraday time frame, and then sit, relax, and wait for a setup again. Okay, but this is something I think, even in the mess of an environment, no matter how messy it may be, these are some of the things you want to try to take advantage of, and it gets you through a lot of these corrections. Yeah, and Ani, I said the same thing. You literally could have thrown a dart at anything this morning and made money, okay? It was one of those type of squeezes. I'll give you another example of that, Ani. One of the names I played today, I didn't play the TTD like some of you guys. I didn't play some of the bigger winners, but Facebook, okay? Weekly sweeper activity coming in when the stock is down $1 and change. Okay, the stock is still red. All right, and because of everything we just spoke about, right, all the ingredients for one of those trending squeeze days, I saw that as an opportunity, at least red to green. Obviously, I sold it and it went higher, but you get my point. You know what I mean? And there were actually a couple names today where action came in flat red, and we could look to take advantage of it. But you could even just trade, like Ani's saying, you could trade ETFs. You know what I mean? You could trade the leverage ETFs. You could play SPY calls. You could play the TNA, the TQQQ. You could play ES, which a lot of you do. You could play SPX calls. This, it's all a preference thing. But the point, like Ani's trying to make is when you get these type of squeezes, it's almost that feeling where you could throw a dart at anything because it's so broad, right? Exactly. A fat pitch squeeze. All right. So again, it's just being aware of where sentiment's at. You know, it's having the discipline and the patience that when sentiment's not there, you're waiting for it to get there, get to the spot, get close enough to the spot, you know, to start paying attention to the signs. You know, being around for that, not getting sidetracked with that. All right. So quickly, I think it's a perfect segue into where we're at now as far as the market. All right. And I'm going to try not to be too confusing. Okay. But this is the God's honest truth of my impression right now. Okay. If you asked me, right, if you take sentiment away from me, if you take sweepers away from me, okay, and you say, Jesus, put on your technician hat or your gut feeling hat, and what are you thinking about this market? I think this is, you know, an oversold squeeze, right? I don't see one positive out there right now, okay? You got the Donald ready to slap a whole new trade war on Mexico, which is a disaster, right, in a week. You got China, they're not even talking to us anymore. They're telling kids here who go to school, get the hell out of here, watch your back, right? An all-out trade war. You got the Fed boxed in, right? They're factoring in not 1 quarter point cut, 75 basis point cut. They're going to eventually factor in what the Fed can't even do, physically can't even do. All right. So you got, right? And the Fed is reluctant to do it because they got the trade war on the horizon and they don't want to do that right in the middle of that unless they really see the economy start to roll over. So again, you have an absolute effing mess out there. Okay. But the way I look at it, from my experience in this game, you know where I'm going with this. There's not one reason for this market to bottom and rally from here. And that's the biggest reason it may. Right? You have every reason to be bearish. You got a lot of sentiment out there, all bared up for enough reason. All right. You've had flow abysmal from the start of earnings season all the way through up until a couple days ago. They were starting to pick some spots. Okay. But based on all that I'm saying right now and the action we saw today, you know, I saw more riffraff trying to short this rally today than trying to buy it. That's a good sign. All right. So again, you don't want to get into the prediction game, right? We were talking about this today in the room. What you want to do is you want to let things come to you right now. Okay. So example, we come in tomorrow and the market's down, right? What the normal retail player out there, what are they going to do? They're going to try shorting, thinking it was a one-day event and get wrapped up into that. We want to look for signs. Okay, similar today, we want to look for signs that something's different now. And that would mean we want to see buying come in, right? We want to see all the signs we were seeing today show some follow through, whether the market's up, down, sideways, or flat from here. Okay, and that may mean, listen, that we could come down and hover and test these lows again and ultimately still have this bottom in place. All right, but these are the signs we want to start paying attention to, because I'll tell you this, we are close enough. All right, we are close enough on a lot of intermediate term sentiment for at least something like this. Okay, see this here, and that's what usually happens. You get this, right? Fail, lows, everybody all bared up. Okay, then they get squeezed, right? Roll over, people looking to short that, squeezed again. So you get, oh my God, that's a bad drawing right there. So you get basically enough here where they wear out the excessive bearishness out there, if that's even proper English. You guys know what I mean. Wear out some of the hedging, overdone hedging, wear out some of the shorts out there, all that stuff. Okay. So as far as, again, what I'm seeing on the sentiment front, we have at least enough for that. You could go back, they all look different, but similar to, the panic attack here. Whoop, right? Squeeze. This is not a whole new bull market here, right? And then we come down, test lows again, and then the start of a bull market. So, I'm making the point that it doesn't have to translate into what we just saw in, December, that V-shaped runaway stampede. Okay, it could just be something that wears out some of the excess bearishness out there, and there is a lot of it. There's a lot of it. Bears have had enough time, right, to elevate it, put the call, all that stuff. Not panic, but enough out there where all these things, you had enough of them signaling that a squeeze was coming, and they needed to keep these guys honest, because they're not paying them. You know that. They're not paying them, right? We all know how difficult it is to short and make the score on the downdraft, even when it comes. It's nearly impossible. Why? Because you got to sit through shit like this. You got to sit through this short. Okay? And even potentially more upside here, and sit through that short. And you got retail traders out there who think they can do it. All right, so again, we're looking for what we saw today, call sweeper activity, stay involved, right? And it wasn't just about today, okay? Today flow exploded, right? You had the squeeze and the explosion. But prior to today, selectively, we started to see a little improvement, right? Really selective, but they started picking out spots. They picked out some semis, right? They were picking out some names. Facebook caught a bet. What was it, yesterday? Facebook, Microsoft, you know what I'm saying. Before that, there was zilch, nothing. All right, so as long as we start to see them come back and buy stuff, those are good signs. And all the rest. Maybe we see Neil Diamond playing DIA into a day of weakness, or VXX put sweepers. Maybe they stay involved. All those signs. Don't talk dirty. So we haven't seen them yet. I'll tell you what, me personally, and the market doesn't care what I want, but I would love a retest of this low. I would love it. I would absolutely love it. So it gives us an opportunity, swing trading wise, to get long some stuff. Because as this, and here's basically what I'm getting at. Like, you see this here? Like, as a swing trader, you guys know I try to swing trade selectively calls. As this is here, okay, as this gets to here, right, the green zone here, and this is just one indicator, but usually they all line up. You see here like this, all right? What I want to do is, on the days of weakness, right, on the days of selling, I want to look towards the flow and find stuff they're buying 3 to 6 months out, and start building little positions in them. Okay, so you get a down day, boom, they're hitting XYZ 5 months out. All right, well, we'll put on the first leg there. And the goal of it is, as you get more and more buying opportunities, you're putting away decent positions of quality action with some time behind it. So you're not worried or concerned about the up and downs over the extreme short term. And, you're hoping for that reward 3 to 6 months out on those positions. And the reason why we feel a little more confident doing it here, why? Because we're down here, right? Remember how we were talking about as the market was, rallying or even cooling off a bit. We don't want to do that up here because it doesn't matter. We have time. It doesn't pay to put spend the premium on time, because if we're looking to hold something for 3-4 months, it may be up today, tomorrow, but what happens when this comes from here? Right? We're done. So swing trading, up there doesn't do any good for that type of positional trading. Here's where you want to start looking at that. Here. Okay? Here's where we want it to be quick, right? Flip. You get the rally the next day, get the hell out. It's almost like playing musical chairs up here, because you're worried about that spill coming. But down here, this is where you want to really start to pay attention to what they're buying. You know what I mean? You want to see the names they keep coming back for. Again, you look back, just use some of the other, the correction late last year. Sometimes they come in names you may not like. You wait for names you like, right? But that's where they were buying the SE, the QSR, the Zio, all the big shots of the last rally. That's where they all came from. They were all the first batch of names they were buying there. Lewis is saying, hey Jay, I thought I saw some DIA yesterday, was not significant. Yeah, there was smaller DIA, not Neil Diamond DIA, if that makes any sense. We got, Lewis, we got our own lingo. Today we saw Neil Diamond's neglected stepbrother, XLI, they bought, which is the industrials. So we got a whole family here, Lewis. We got a whole family. But and the squeeze, you guys know, the VXX put sweepers, no matter what they're doing for intraday stuff, those guys are money. Especially into weakness. There's nothing better. Today, like when we saw them, they were cheap, they were weeklies, but it just, and you probably all would agree, you felt different about today's squeeze. I didn't, for not 1 second did I feel that today was going to reverse red. Earlier, not one second once those guys showed up. Once the flow was so aggressive. Pepsi, Pepsi caught a big block today. We'll get into names in a second. And we got, quite a few names to go over. Let me get to a couple of questions or comments on this here. It could be a W. Mike, I've been so wrong so many times on thinking there was going to be a W or hoping there was going to be a W bottom, and it ended up being a V. It feels like more and more everything's a freaking V these days. The W's, I like the W's better because you have more time. You're not in a rush. You don't have to chase. You're letting the market come to you. You're ready for it. Those V's, they're so damn quick. You feel like you never have enough. Never have enough. Breath was positive. Yeah, a lot. I mean, Tim, there were signs that sellers were getting tired, across the board. But, that didn't have to translate into a big squeeze today. They ruined our niner today, by the way. But that was another thing, we had today. Clean niner that they ruined. God bless America. So, again, just a spot where basically everything was lining up and all, for me, it's the sweeper activity, right? Because again, I look at that as the trigger, the momentum, right? You got to get that match lit. And otherwise, I don't know, like I just explained to you guys, for me, I don't know what rally is real and what's not. Like yesterday, we started up, right? And then we reversed. So, what made yesterday different than today? For me, it was just you had a couple more of those sentiment things line up, and boom, we saw the evidence in the sweeper activity we wanted to see. That was the only difference for me. So again, you guys most likely look at other stuff. That's fantastic. I'm just saying, utilize this stuff with the stuff you're already looking at, and it could just give you that much more confidence. Let me get to some of the top action out there, because it was predominantly squeeze action. Okay, no doubt about it. But the good thing it was so damn broad, meaning they hit a lot of different stuff. Wasn't just software, wasn't just tech. It was from your beaten up squeeze names that looked like they were going to zero in a straight line to, some quality names too. All right. But this is some of the top action out there. I gotta look some through this action tonight, because there was a shitload of it. Excuse my French. Here was the bet of the day, hands down, no doubt about it. Nothing even close. This was the start of it. Came basically at the open. Okay, gave us an idea that they were hitting beaten down names, right? Because it looked like almost like they were rotating into the beaten down names. That's what it looked like initially, to me anyway. That's a lot of names right there. There's a lot of beaten down names, but that's what it looked like to me initially, because they were hitting names like Tesla hard. We saw the URI, right? US Steel. Those type of names were catching the call sweeper activity. So this is Tesla. You're talking about a little under $3 million sweep. Okay, clean as a whistle. August 250s. Like I said, multiple exchanges, takes out all offers. There's nothing. The only thing I was checking on to see if he was rolling. Somebody's retweeting or something here. A player was rolling down strikes or something like that. That's the only thing I had to check for. And once I saw it was clean, there was no question about it. There was no question about it. And by the way, just so you guys know, okay, you probably think, the market was raging and you couldn't get your hands on it. The market was sitting, doing nothing when this thing came in. And then there was action that followed in, this is a 5-minute. If I show you on the 1 minute, you can probably see it better. Where am I? Nope. I just want to show you guys what the market and everything was doing here. All right, so here. So we opened up, it was choppy for like a good 20 minutes early on. They hit it right here. You had this initial pop, then another breather, and then they started hitting up weeklies too. So she got hot. But the August bet was the bet. And that was a nice one too, right? I played the equity on Tesla, made some money. I had to play something. I didn't play the options though. And Tesla, believe it or not, Tesla's cheaper these days, MJ. I mean, it's still $180, but you know what I mean? It's not where I don't even pay attention for the equity anymore. But yeah, that was the bet of the day. Then you had some interesting action you want to maybe keep an eye on going forward into some weakness. This Uber, you guys are going to make fun of me again, but it caught action. Jan 45s, two different sweeps there. Yesterday, it saw some spec activity, mostly weeklies for the most part. I think they were playing for those upgrades or initiations. This in the lift. But this looks half decent. So I would keep an eye on, you get a little red here. I would keep an eye on it. Again, this is IPO name and nobody wants it type thing. I would keep an eye on this thing. You got time with those Jans, but into weakness, you could probably even play shorter stuff and maybe catch a squeeze. All right, so the flow's starting to turn there. NCLH, this was a big bet late in the day. So here's the funny thing about this thing. This was the only put buying, literally, that I would remember out of the day. Okay. Early on, before even the call sweeper activity really got hot, it was just Tesla for the most part. This and RCL starts to see spec put sweeper activity. All right, a couple of them, little spec players, but notable for these names. And these things fell apart. They absolutely, look at this. You see this? As the market was strong, fell apart. Okay, so make a long story short, I didn't see any put activity after that. All right, there wasn't hardly any put activity in the whole market after that. And then this sweep comes in. Yeah, I played the equity here. I played all equity today, MJ. I didn't play any calls. So NCH, these are July 55s. This was a pretty big bet for the name and had a nice move. The stock was down $1 and change still when it came in. I think she closed flat. All right, so made up the losses there. But it was a notable bet. Snap, not initial. Snap has seen a lot of bullish positioning, man. A lot of bullish positioning. Even throughout this mess, Snap, the flow's been solid. I know a couple of you own the Snap. I know you've been in the Snap. I don't see any reason to get out of the Snap. There's still some quality action there. You get spec action, you get size action, and today, compared to some of the squeeze activity out there, probably right up there with the best of quality. Look, here you got July 12, 13 and a halves. That was roughly about a little over $250,000. And then you had just a ton of smaller sweeps in weeklies, June, July monthlies. They're not even on here. But this was the line that saw some size. So Snap, again, because I know you guys were asking, if you're long it, I would just, continue rolling or stay in it if you can. Looks good. And this one was a big bet too. ACN. You guys play this name? I know a couple in the room say they're familiar with this name. Yeah, you know this name, Trey? I didn't play it today. Got strong at the end of the day. I didn't play it. I played the NCLH before instead because they came pretty much at the same time. But, good looking stock, huh? It's a good looking stock. This is insurance? I think it's insurance, right? Or no? Or is it, yeah, insurance? So you have, got hot with a lot of the market, obviously. Ran through a couple of niners, finally topped out. And this pullback has been nothing. Obviously, relative strength throughout this whole market mess. All right, look at this thing hang in there like that. This is tech consulting? I get it confused. Accenture. Yeah, and regardless, whether they pick up dog poop or it's a tech business, looks good. Looks good. So the order there was, just for if you weren't around, June 28th, 180s. And that's about a $700,000 sweep. So big time order. One thing I want to add to this, you do have earnings. You got time though. When's earnings? The end of June, I think. June 30th. Oh, June 27th? Yeah, I'm showing June 30th. So right around the end of June figure. So that's something to professional services company provides services, consulting, digital technology operations. That's a big one. It's a big name. So yeah, keep an eye on it. That's the only thing you're gonna have to do is navigate earnings. WMGI, I know that name, right? Caught some action today, but This name caught action in the past too, Tree. This name caught action in the past too. Strong name as well. So yeah, throw some names at me now while we're doing this. AMD, yeah, there's nothing bad I could say about AMD. You know, catches a lot of action. I would try to buy dips in it. That's all. You know, the problem is where you picking spots here. That's all. You know, AMD, a lot of action. You guys know. It's just when you try to get a little too cute and you're playing short-term stuff, you could get you get in trouble. But that's the problem. Yeah, it's getting tougher now. Now too, you had a market pullback here, and AMD obviously held up well, right? So, I'm sure if the market improves, money will go into the AMD. That's the other thing we have to keep an eye out. Today is not going to tell us much about that. We want to see what's going to take any leadership role if there's a rally on the horizon. We don't know. Yeah, like I see a couple of you guys making a good point. Software doesn't look too hot right now. It was a crowded trade and it's having a tough time right now. So, that may not be the same names. Again, I think one of the reasons why you take the day-by-day patient approach and see what they're buying, right? If it's clean, if they're looking, listen, they may decide, okay, maybe we get a little 2-3 week uptrend grindy type thing where they go to these names because they've been destroyed. Look at this. They've been destroyed, these things. Okay? U.S. Steel basically is a tick away from out of business. So these things very easily could see squeeze flow and accidentally, by accident, squeeze a couple points over the next month. And the other stuff may be tough, right? What name? Oh, Coop. What did this end up doing today? Oh my God, it went up, down, up, down, up. Wasn't this thing? This thing was up, then down. Yeah, you got these software names are a little trickier. We'll see if that changes. ZS was up today. They look a little sluggish, some of these software names. But that can change. CRM up 1.5%. What's it at here? That had a little pull too, CRM before. Yeah, that's a can of corn for that stock, right? Yeah, that's the other tough thing about this market. You guys know, names have been so tough, man, so tough, right? Individual names have been impossible to try to hold and get some follow through. Yeah, Paul, those energy names, oh my God, they're destroyed, destroyed. Now, even forget energy, you got materials, cyclical type names that can use a bounce. Maybe they go into some of these things for a squeeze. The goose, that caught a little put selling activity today, the goose. That's another thing we're seeing a good amount of. Now, I will say this, the put selling, I'm kind of torn because usually it's a really good sign, right? As far as further downside. But what's bothering me about the put selling out there is we've been seeing put selling, but no call buying. And my takeaway from that is they're thinking, okay, they would like to own, They don't mind owning things lower, but they don't feel confident about the upside. You understand what I'm saying? So it gets that's not an easy trade if you're not selling puts with them. Because that, they can make money off chop. So that's the one thing you got to watch out for. That's why it's the call sweeper. It comes down to the call sweeper activity. When they're getting aggressive in individual names, that's a good sign of momentum. EWZ has been a monster. There's been bull flow, some put buying here and there selectively. But now you're chasing here. Now you're chasing. You may get away with it, but you're chasing. Yeah, Tree, GM and Ford caught some flow, but a lot of action in GM today. A lot of action in GM today. I'm not a GM guy. I don't like playing that stock, but a lot of call activity. What else? What other names you guys looking? Any names? How about the semiconductors? Anybody interested in those? I thought we'd see more action there today. We didn't see as much as I thought. Yeah, Marvel's a stud. Joey Marvel, that's Zitch's stock right there. That's Zitch's baby right there. Looks great. It's a good looking semi. Good looking semi. Nice little pull right, got a little too hot. Nice little breather. Some of these things look really good. We gotta keep our eyes peeled because they're not going to give us too many opportunities to buy these things if they're heading higher, and we got to be ready to fire at them. What's Xilinx look like, Gordon? You own Xilinx, Gordon, or you're looking at Xilinx? Oh, nice pull, huh? Nice. Got a nice pull. LRCX caught a sweep at the end of the day. I don't know what the hell they waited so long for. They couldn't buy it this morning, Ronald? I would have been all over that. I love this stock. It's a beast. A beast. I would definitely, Ronald, keep my eyes on further action than this thing in coming days. Off this pull, without a doubt. A lot of times you get lucky too. Because this thing can move, you get a down $2 day, and then all of a sudden you see this little sweep whistle in. You got to be ready. Ask PFD. Both him and I both missed bigly on this thing twice. Yeah, Rambus, why? You bought this, Tim? Rambo's been seeing some action. Wow. Rambo. Yeah, you probably got to play the common in this. Look at Rambo. Looks good, Tim. Looks really good. Netflix Ani was one of the few names that caught some real action in the pullback, as you know. Had some decent sweeps there that one day. So Netflix is in play sweeper-wise. What else caught some? SWKS. They were buying in the pull. This probably still has room. See these things? Like, how do you buy these things with all the overhang right now? But if we continue to see sweeper activity, we can't overthink it. Because they're telling us, forget that the stuff we're looking at right now, it's old news. It's over with. You understand? That's what we have to make sure and pay attention to. The same thing, guys, we were talking about in December. Okay? We can't get tied into the negative news that's out there that everybody's talking about because the market's been factoring all that in. You understand what I'm telling you? All the negativity, all the stuff we're hearing over and over again ad nauseum on CNBC, the reasons why not to own things, the market knew this already. Yeah, AMAC caught a little action again this morning. She's a tough one, though. She's a tough one. She's a tough one. What about TXN? Anything there? I like this TXN. Somebody just mentioned, oh, CVNA. I own some equity CVNA. Carvana. Quite a decent looking sweep. TSM, good call, MJ. That's the other semi they were buying. This is an ADR type thing, though, MJ. You know that, right? If you're wondering all the gaps and all that. Taiwan. See how it's gappy? Yeah, it's Taiwan semi. I think it trades over there too. That's why you get all these gaps. But it caught a Jan bull risk reversal down here. Pretty significant bet. All these things are in play. NVIDIA, what? Somebody saying NVIDIA up in the after hours or no? Oh, today was up. Yeah, wow. Off the second niner there too, huh? Oh no, this is the you believe this? This is the niner from here, MJ. Look at this. Okay, here was the 9. Remember, MJ? Look. Look at this. That's how bad this thing sold. Can you believe this? I'm telling you, there's a lot of oversold stuff out there. It's crazy. Wow. Micron had some flow. Micron actually caught a pretty solid sweep. I think it was last week too. Niners rule. All right. So again, listen. Well, TTD caught a couple sweeps today. I didn't play it, but had a hell of a move. James, couple guys in the room played it today. Did you get in at all, or? Yeah, MJ, there was two sweeps early on. 80 cents to 6.5, Tim is saying. Wow. 80 cents to 6.5. And you sold it for 2? That's still not bad. Wow. Yeah, who expected that thing to get hot like this? But yeah, and listen, don't get discouraged. Like I said, if the true colors come out from this point on now, all right? So we don't want to fall too in love with these things until they see some further action. We don't want to get too bearish. If there's some weakness, we want to keep a happy medium here as we go forward. Yeah, you do not want to chase. Good call. You do not want to chase. Even if you miss a couple stocks, they'll move into laggards and you'll have some names there to take advantage of. You do not want to chase, especially now that we don't even know what kind of animal we have here, right? We really have no idea. Today, again, aside, if you take sentiment away from me, you take sweeper activity away from me, this was overdue. This was overdue. Now comes the interesting part, in my opinion. We're coming up to the interesting point in this market. Get above here and see, the thing about this is if we can get this with the sweeper activity, what's going to happen is we're not going to have to rely on the market as much. So maybe the market gets choppy here. You know what I mean? But what we'll see is under the hood, there'll be selective individual names that will be outperforming the market. This whole trip down, you've heard me, you guys more than ever have heard me complain. I can't get myself to own individual names. I'd rather own the market, make a play on the market if I'm going to play it for a squeeze. That's how bad it's been. So the opposite should happen if, we can get some little uptrend going for a couple of weeks. We have a higher odds of that happening off of today than where we were, obviously. Yeah, I'll take under the hood action, Tim. I love that. I love that. I love that because a lot of the under the hood stuff too has been beaten to hell, guys. So the upside is juicy there. The upside's juicy. But we'll see. And worst case, listen, worst case, okay, all the, I'll give you all the different possibilities out of this, right? So we got, let's say, today was a one-day rebound, oversold, and we head south, okay? What's going to happen is, if we do head south, we're not too far away from bears being loaded again. You understand what I'm saying? Even off of today. So when we get there, we're going to be due for another one, at least of these, if not even more, because of how deep this has been. So we'll see what happens. I think there are higher odds of a move out of this, setting up a bullish thing here for us, for at least some breathing room for the next couple of weeks. But again, let the market talk, right? That's what we want. Yeah, exactly. We just, the sweeper activity will tell us where the momentum is, right? We know the board likes to light up green when we're in a bullish environment, right? In a bullish phase. You're not going to see too many put sweepers. You're going to see isolated put activity. So you'll see the signs, that's all. And the way to stay out of trouble is don't fight it, okay? If we come in tomorrow morning and the board lights up all red with put sweepers, don't try to be a hero into that and get long a couple things. Wait till the flow flips at the least. So just don't fight it. And this, on the flip side, if you see call sweepers grab the ball, don't try to short into that. Let the flow dry up. Yeah, TQQQ, there was put seller today. So I kind of touched on that a little bit, Tim. What the put selling, what it's been telling me is that they're okay with owning at lower levels. They're just not comfortable with upside. You understand? Because we're seeing put selling without the call buying around it. Usually we'll see a TQQQ call sweep. So we've been seeing a lot of put selling activity, and my impression of that is that, in other words, people are saying they're picking their spots. So they're saying, all right, I'm going to sell some puts down here. If I get put to stock, I'm okay with it. I want to buy this weakness anyway. They're just unsure of upside from here, probably because of everything going on. So that's why we've been seeing, I think, a lot of put selling activity. Now that's bullish, because ultimately, it's going to put in a floor here. It puts in a floor, and like I mentioned, under the hood, there'll be names that are catching call sweepers, and they'll be moving and outperforming. But that's why we've been seeing a lot of put selling activity, right? A lot more than usual. A lot more than usual. All right. Anybody have any? Oh yeah, Melly. You guys saw the Melly order today? You all saw the Melly order, the big guy from Melly. He's great, that guy. This is, I think, me and Cash were talking about. I think it's the 4th time he's rolled. Think about that. The 4th time he's rolled that position. I'm going to pull it up for some of you who may not have been around today. So this is what he did. I hate this new Twitter format. I hate it. Here's what he did. He closed 2000 September 350s, and he rolled into the December 450s, but he put a good 12, 13 million in his pocket off the roll. Anybody have any last things to add or questions? Epram saying, help me understand why the market will keep going up instead of correcting. Here's why. What do you think the market's going to do from here? What's your gut feeling on the market right now? I'm asking you, Ephraim, who asked the question. You feeling bullish or bearish these days? There were a lot of bears yesterday. Oh my God. You had to see the steam room for those of you guys who weren't in there. Whoo! We had some wild predictions going on there to have downside. Everything's overvalued, right? That's what you think? That's what everybody thinks. But no, again, we don't have enough evidence yet, right? We were looking for this today. This is what we got. Now, what we're looking for them to buy whatever the weakness is out there now. That's what we're looking for. Okay? That's what we're looking for. It's that simple. I hear you, Ani. Sentiment and flow is all that matters to me. But I'm not trying to oversimplify things and make it sound, like it's too easy. But I'm saying that's what we're looking for right now. Okay? We get a down day tomorrow or the next day. All right. I don't care how negative the news is. I don't care how gloomy you feel. I don't care how bad the economic number that came out to make the market sell off. I don't care what they're saying. If we see call sweeper activity into that weakness or into that flat market or whatever the market's doing, that's a constructive sign that, again, at least there's a tradable rally from here. Doesn't mean a whole new bull market, but a tradable rally from here. Yeah, I'm kind of sick of these gaps. You know what's bothering me, MJ, more than the gaps, obviously, but these overnight sessions. Because, like, I go to bed yesterday and the futures are down, and I'm like, nice. We go in tomorrow just flat, going flat. That's all. Okay. And then I wake up, futures are up a little bit. I'm like, okay, not bad. That's when I put out the video this morning, right? I mentioned, futures up a little bit, but that's okay as long as we see flow, not too. And then as the open gets closer, they keep pushing higher and higher, and it just frustrated the living daylights out of me. The 9 accounts are DeMark, yeah. No, DeMark. They're DeMark, Ronald. Yeah, MJ, what I do is I'll give a heads up, like a lot of times on private Twitter. You're not going to see it in the room because a lot of people are talking. But then if you're in the room, you got to check the market update section, MJ. You know that by now. That should be the first place you go is the market update section. But you like to run your mouth about the birds and the bees all day long in here. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, man, did you see that Trump tweet? I'm being honest. Like, if I was a member of the steam room, okay, the most time I would spend would be here after hours. This is where you're going to get a feel for everything. And every morning you have an idea of where we're at. All right, Jesus posts some sentiment. Oh, wow. Okay. We got high odds of a squeeze today. That's good news. Oh, he put out a video. Let's see what he's saying. Some squeeze and intermediate indicators flash green. Oh, all right. You know what I mean? That's what you're looking for here. I know, listen, this is where, the chat gets fun and it's bad at the same time because you get wrapped up in the conversations and you miss what you're here for, But yeah, it's the focus. Thank you, Prit. See, I got everybody over here thanking me for the video, and you're saying you missed the video. Typical MJ. Meanwhile, MJ probably saw the video. She's busting my chops. That's why. Yeah, and again, there's good and bad in chat. What we did with the chat room, because that's why I've never been a big fan of chat. I'm being honest with you. That's what I hated about chat rooms is just, it's good and bad. You learn from other traders, but also at the same time, there's noise, So we have the filter tab in here, right? So you're only getting the alerts and the commentary on the flow. And now the market update section where it's all flow and sentiment. That's it. And obviously, I've been posting it to private Twitter. So if you're not by a desktop, you can get it on private Twitter. Matthias is saying, I've never ever typed something even once in chat, and he's just here for the market updates in the filter section. You made my day, Matthias. I didn't think there was too many of you, but good to see you. Now, listen, all due honesty, every one of us is different. You know what I mean? And you heard me, MJ, how many times have I told you this? If you get wrapped up in the noise and you realize it's a problem, you have to do something about it. You have to do something about it. You know what I mean? Don't worry about people's feelings, right? They don't know you. They don't know anything about you. If it's too noisy, you put on, like Matthias said, you put on the filter, you have market updates, and you're concentrating on what you want to concentrate on. Okay? Now, maybe you got Tim in the room, you got a lot of good traders in the room, PFD trading in the room. Maybe you want to participate and see what they're playing. There's nothing wrong with that. There's good that comes out of that too. But I'm saying if the noise, if you see it affecting you and creating bad habits, you have to fix it. Yeah, Ani, same way with me. I've on regular Twitter, I don't even go during market hours anymore. Sometimes I like to go just to get a feel of sentiment. I want to see the bears getting excited. Makes me feel good sometimes. Yeah, all right, MJ, I'll check it. So that's the only reason. But now I can't even go on Twitter either during market hours. That's funny, Matthias. So yeah, anybody who's new, wallstreetjesus.com. If you have any questions on any of the lingo or any of the stuff we look at day to day, you go to the strategy section here and you can read up on these blogs. Even if you're a new member, if you just signed up recently, I would recommend you check these out. If you're bored, sitting home, nothing to do, just to get an idea, some of the simple ways to utilize the edge here. All right. And if you're interested in giving us a shot, we have a free, no credit card, free trial for 3 days here. 3 days, free trial, no credit card required. All right. And private Twitter, if you're looking for that, you go to products, private Twitter, or grab the link off my regular Twitter. And you can find it there. That's $59.99 a month. All right, everybody. Love you guys. Enjoy the night. And we'll see. We're going to come up against the crossroads here to see what lies ahead for the next month or so. Be good, everybody. I'll see you mañana.